the Florida Writer Podcast, a discussion about writing and other things.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Allison Nissen. And today I am lucky enough to be with Penny Sansevieri. Penny, welcome to the Florida Writer Podcast.
So excited to be here. I have to tell you, I love your group. Your conference is amazing. Really honored to do this show with you.
Well, thanks for the little plug on the conference. We do have our first one coming up that we haven't been together in 3 years, which is hard to believe. But
Amazing.
I know. Penny, can you give us a 60-second elevator pitch about who you are and what you write and / market?
Well, I am the CEO of Author Marketing Experts. So I do marketing and publicity. We've been around for 21 years. I also have 18 books published, all on book marketing and publicity and Amazon marketing and things like that. And we work with, I love working with books that I love, right? So we don't just specialize in memoir or mystery or romance. We work with books that we love and books that we can get behind and that we believe in, because at the end of the day, we have to be, as excited about the book as the author. Almost. The authors are a little bit more excited, probably.
It is a brilliant day when the book goes to publish and you get that copy at home, and it's like, oh my goodness, my baby has been born.
I know. It's really, I always refer to the book, the date that the book launches, as the book's birthday, because it's just such an exciting, and even though, I have 18 books out and you think I would be a little bit ho-hum about, but you really get it's so exciting. It's like, oh, it's live on Amazon. I'm so excited. And then I watch it like a stock market junkie to see how it's doing on the sales rank. You know what I mean? So I'm like refreshing my phone or my computers to see if I'm very pathetic about my books.
You brought up an interesting point, is that watching it like the stock market junkie. I went to sell a house a couple of years ago, and the realtor said, let's put it out for this price and we'll know within a week if it's at the right price. If nobody goes through the house, if nobody comes to see it, we know that we priced it too high. Do you have an insight like that when you're putting your book onto Amazon or into another platform for marketing?
You mean just in terms of the pricing?
In terms of pricing, yeah.
I have to tell you, I may borrow that and I will credit you. That's a really, really great way to phrase it, because there is no market like the book market. And I've had a lot of people who come from the business side and they're like, oh, I'm going to write a book about my business and help expand my business. And they've told me many times, the book industry makes no sense to me. One of the things that I will say is really crucial about the launch on Amazon in particular is that you really want to try to get as many pieces right, not to put too much pressure on people who are listening thinking, but the first 30 days of your book are really crucial. So you don't want to experiment with the pricing. What you want to do instead is you want to take a look at your industry and price it similarly to other books in your market. And I'm not necessarily a fan of saying, price your books at 99 cents, because I think, and I hope that phase of our, lives is over where you get all these really cheap books. You can promo it. That's a different thing. But I would price it comparatively to other similar titles in your market. Don't price it too high, just kind of keep it somewhere in the middle. But that's typically what I do. Now, that's not to say that I won't drop the price, like I mentioned, for promos or things like that. But I generally try to start with something that it is as close to, because the issue is if you get people, so this impacts two things. It's not just the first 30 days of the life of your book on Amazon, but it can also impact your relevancy score. And so Jeff Bezos, I'm such a geek about this stuff, so please just yell at me and tell me to shut up if I've gone too far, because I love all the Amazon stuff. Jeff Bezos was an early investor in Google. Because of that, a lot of what Amazon does with their algorithm mirrors what Google does. And Google has a relevancy score on websites, right? So how relevant that the website is to the consumer search. Amazon does the same thing. When your book is out, and let's say you've priced your ebook, which is a good example, at $29.95, right? That's generally too high for an ebook. I know they're out there. I know you see some ebooks that are ridiculously high priced. I don't care your genre. That's much too high. You send a whole bunch of people to your Amazon book page and nobody buys it. You know what that does? That tells Amazon that your book is not relevant, and it impacts your relevancy score, and you start to sink down the Amazon list. That's part of the reason why you want to be careful to price it. I mean, look, if it's $2 difference, that's not, we're talking about something that's really a much wider margin. Does that make sense? That was a really long way of answering your question. I apologize.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. And this relevancy score is new to me. Maybe this is something similar. So I've heard that if you have a certain number of reviews, if you're able to get, say, 50 reviews, that your relevancy goes up a notch. Is that a true statement?
It's a true statement, but it's not just your reviews. So let's say, for example, that you are running Facebook ads. Okay. So I talked to a lot of authors who are running Facebook ads. They're like, I'm getting a lot of clicks. I'm not getting a lot of sales. If you're sending a bunch of people to your Amazon book page that are not buying, again, comes back to the relevancy score. It impacts that. It could be a lot of things. It could be your Amazon book description, could be your pricing, it could be your book cover, right? So that's definitely something that you want to look at, because everything, when it comes to Amazon, especially, everything matters.
Yes, everything matters.
Yeah.
It's this world of unknown. We spend so much time writing our books.
Exactly.
We know that we're supposed to start building a platform early on, or hopefully we have learned this somewhere. But yes, getting people to come and to purchase your book is a whole nother avenue that we need to pay attention to. So, I do like this idea. So if you're going to market your book, you mentioned Facebook ads. I mean, how do those, is it best just take a little Facebook course? I mean, if someone was going to do it on their own.
Yeah. I am more of a fan of Amazon ads, not because I'm everything Amazon. I don't own stock in Amazon. Like I don't have a horse in the race per se. I'm not a fan of Facebook ads, and I'll tell you why. Facebook ads, you really, really have to be, some people do very well with them, but the people who do very well with them are generally leading the consumer to some kind of a limited time promotion. So a lot of times what happens is authors will get on there and they'll just run Facebook ads to their book page, right? There's no incentive to buy quickly. There's no limited time anything. There's no call to action, nothing. And that's where they end up losing a lot of money. So if you're going to do Facebook ads, fine. If you're going to do Instagram ads, fine. You got to give them a limited time. That's part of the reason why, especially on Instagram ads, you see like the timer, like you have 6 minutes to take this offer, et cetera. Those are the things that incentivize, consumers to buy. I really prefer doing Amazon ads. And I will say, as a caveat to anybody listening, if you've been running Amazon ads and you feel like in the last 3 weeks they become super chaotic, it's not just you. Amazon recently opened up the system so that everybody can do Amazon ads, right? So even if you're traditionally published, and now the system is sort of being flooded with ads, and at some point it'll shake out and people will, because the ad platform is confusing, even on its best day. And I say that I do Amazon ads for almost all of our clients, but I do like it comparatively, even during this chaotic period, which hopefully will be short-lived. I do like it better than Facebook ads, just because it helps not just with your paid visibility, but also with your organic visibility on Amazon too.
Penny, what's the difference between book marketing and book branding, or author branding? I guess it would be author branding and book marketing.
Well, it's not so much. So author brand, so your brand is your promise to your reader. Okay, that's the easiest way to say that. And I think that what happens a lot of times is sometimes authors have somewhat of a chaotic brand, meaning that their website looks very different from their book cover, sort of the feel. And when I talk to authors about branding, a lot of times it feels really heavy, right? It's kind of like, Oh, that just sounds like a lot of work on top of the work that you're already doing, on top of the next book that you're writing. The list just goes on. But branding can be really very simple. And the other side of this is that everything you do is your brand. So the font on your website, the font on your books, everything is your brand. And if your only takeaway from this, discussion on branding is, I want to go through and just make sure that everything looks similar, you're 90% ahead of most authors that are out there. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. Now you can start your brand early. So there's a difference between book marketing and brand marketing. And brand marketing is something that I refer to if an author says, I know I need to be doing something. I have a book coming out in a month, 3 months, a year, whatever. That's when you're going to start brand marketing. So you're focusing on, creating a website that looks sort of, that has the feel that you want, and starting up your whatever social media and just getting out there and starting to feel your way through your brand. Most of us don't have budgets to be able to hire a branding firm to come in here and do all the work for us. So most of it is just done a little bit by trial and error. And I like that authors sometimes have this ramp up time to go until they actually start book marketing, right? They always say that the best time to start networking is before you have anything to sell, right? So that really factors into the whole brand marketing thing. Is you're out there and you're contributing and you're participating and you're not selling because you don't have anything to sell. That's some of the best networking that an author can do.
What would be the first thing? All right. So I'm going to just use myself as an example because it's my podcast and I can. So I am, let's just say, 3/4 of the way through a book. It's a little bit of a self-help memoir type story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nonfiction for one. And I have a nice platform and it's going to fit with my platform and with my branding. So that part I've already have. So where should I go next? I mean, what would be my next step with where I am? So a few people know that I'm writing this book, but I haven't advertised it much. And I don't have, I have a working title. I don't have the final title. I'm not near edits yet. I'm just gathering up some beta readers that are going to help me fill in any holes that I have.
Okay. In an ideal world, when would you launch this book?
Let's just call out Christmas.
Okay. So I would really encourage you, and not knowing what the theme is of the book in particular, right? I would encourage you to start to participate. So let's use the networking as an example, right? So if you said, I want to go to a bunch of events and I want to network with people who are interested in this topic, you would go to events and you would go to the right conferences. Start looking for, let's say, Facebook groups, websites, things like that you can. And by websites, what I mean is websites people who have websites that are blogging. So you can start to post comments on those blogs. Again, think of it as networking a little bit flipped on its head, because you're actually not packing up a suitcase and leaving your house, which is obviously what we've done a lot of, but it is a really great way to start getting out there. Facebook groups, following social media accounts on Instagram. People ask me all the time, they say, well, how can I get in front of influencers? It's like, well, you can't just throw a book at them, right? You want to get to know them, and start to follow them and be an active participant in some of the things that they're posting.
So now would be the perfect time for me to start.
Now would be the perfect
following
time
people and commenting on their things, having them get to know me, so that they.
Yeah. And what's really interesting too about that, Allison, is that you will find that it's going to also inspire new ideas for this book. It may even inspire the book title. It may inspire a subtitle. I mean, you know what I mean? When you start to kind of play in the same sandbox as your other, readers and things like that, people in that market space, it does inspire a lot of really interesting ideas. So that's another real benefit to it too.
So just something as simple as commenting on people's blogs.
Yeah. People, I mean, think about, for those of you listening who have a blog, how much you love it when people comment on your blog. Like, that's really exciting, right? And I've had my website for 21 years. I haven't had the blog for 21 years, but we've had the website for 21 years. I still get excited when people post comments, so that's something that you can definitely do with some consistency and get to know the blogger who may at some point, maybe you want to get them for a review, excuse me, or, maybe even a feature on their website.
Oh, I love that idea. I'm of course taking notes. I hope our audience is too, because
right, exactly.
I'm learning a lot. That's for sure. Penny Sansevieri, how can people get in touch with you, and how can they learn more about author marketing experts?
Well, you can reach out to me at Penny, Penny, at amarketingexpert.com. And you can find us at amarketingexpert.com. And just if I may, we also have a podcast, amarketingexpert.com/podcast. And Amy Cornell, who's been with me for 11 years, we talk all things book marketing. So, but you can definitely find us in our blog at that URL.
All right, Penny, are you ready to switch to our rapid fire questions?
Okay.
Do you believe in aliens?
Do I have a sign behind? Well, obviously you can't see the sign. So a friend of mine got this for my birthday. And it's a I want to believe X-Files sign. So yeah, for sure.
I did see the poster. So
I love that.
What is your favorite Friday activity?
Oh my gosh. My favorite Friday activity is, we actually had to postpone it today, which worked out well so I could do your podcast. We get together with a bunch of friends at Starbucks and we just sort of talk about the week.
And
we always do it on Friday. I love it.
That sounds like a very nice thing to do. A good way to unwind after a busy week.
Absolutely. It's a good way to unwind.
And final question, what is your favorite breakfast food?
Oh my gosh, what is my favorite breakfast food? I really love bacon. I'm sorry, that's really bad. I love bacon. There was a bacon shortage, I don't know, a few months ago. It's just like, oh, this is going to be bad. And some folks that I'm friendly with on Facebook from Florida writers know this. And I've had funny bacon memes sent to me and things like that. I really love bacon. So yes.
Well, Penny Sansevieri, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. This was really fun.
You have been listening to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Allison Nissen. Allison out. Boo! We're all done.
That's awesome.
Penny Sansevieri is the founder of Author Marketing Experts and a best-selling author and internationally recognized book marketing and media relations expert. Her company is one of the leaders in the publishing industry and has developed some of the most cutting-edge book marketing campaigns. For more information about Penny and Author Marketing Experts, visit their website at amarketingexpert.com. For more information about the Florida Writers Association and our upcoming Florida WriterCon in October 2022, visit floridawriters.org. Until next time.